Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Mull to 4. This week we will be doing our usual cracker pack from the 5 that we have left. Just to recap, that's Return to Ravnica, Gatecrash, Journey into Nyx, Khans of Tarkir and the 2015 core set. And then from there we'll be talking about our experiences of Gameday, and there was one other thing we were going to speak about in terms of the Grand Prix, wasn't there, Joe? You said prep.
What, just kind of like what we've prepared for the Grand Prix?
Yeah, okay, so we'll do that. As we say, we're going to kick off a crap.
And whatever else we want to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every now and then.
Yeah, we'll chime in.
If it's in your head, just say it.
Yes, that's this. For anyone who doesn't know, there's no script to this at all.
It's hard to tell.
Yes. Okay, so I rolled the dice last week, you can roll the dice this week, and we will crack pack 6s will be re-rolls as there is no pack 6.
Yeah, so basically there's only 5 packs. If we roll a 6, we roll again. So number 1 will be Return to Ravnica, number 2, Gatecrash, number 3, Journey into Nyx, 4, Khans of Tarkir, and 5, the 2015 core set.
I feel like I'm on the generation game. You could win one of these amazing 5 packs.
Throw
Throw it across the room.
3! And it landed on the pack that we're opening.
Which is Journey into Nyx.
Journey into Nyx.
Journey into Nyx. We don't like wearing Adidas here. Which is odd because it...
Adidas, not Adidas.
That's a difference. Terms.
Terms.
It was... ironically, it was 3 last week, and it was...
Was it?
Ross, yes.
Mm.
Okay, so going through, we have an Armament of Nyx. I'll put them this way so you can read them easier.
Nyx in the title.
Armament of Nyx, Humbler of Mortals, that sounds cool. Nyx Infusions, sounds like a cocktail of some sort.
Yeah.
Harvest Guard
Alsades.
Alsades, yeah, weird word, okay. Returned Reveller, a Supply Line Cranes, that is awesome, the artwork on that, because it's birds carrying swords. Thassa's Devourer, a Desecration Plague, sounds like a black metal band. Flame Speaker's Will.
Also sounds like a black metal band.
Yeah, or black metal song title.
One?
Cast into Darkness, yeah, these are all bands.
These are all metal bands.
Nessian Game Warden. Sightless Brawler.
Sightless Brawler.
Sightless Brawler.
Is it 0-0? No.
No. Binding Flare, and the rare is Spawn of Thraxus. And we have a Forest and the old Tippocardo.
Let's give him a bit of a
Again,
look.
we're going to have another quick read because we're not used to these old-fashioned packs that we've never seen cast from before. The only ones I've really seen, realistically, is Cast into Darkness, which is ass.
The only one I've really seen before is Nessian Game Warden.
Yeah.
Because my girlfriend Tammy plays it a lot in her Red-Green Monsters deck.
I remember it's quite good, I don't remember what it does though.
So basically it's a 4/5 for 5, and when you bring it in, you look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the amount of mountains that you control. So it kind of urges you to go into green straight away quite a lot. And then you can put a creature card from among those into your hand.
I was just reading Spawn of Thraxus while you were saying that.
Yeah.
I would love to build a red-green deck, because Spawn of Thraxus says he is a 5/5 for 7 mana with flying, so hopefully if there was any ramp in this set in Limited you'd be able to get some ramp. But flying, when Spawn of Thraxus enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target creature or player equal to the number of mountains you control. So if you've got a lot of mountains, you just be like, oh yeah, burn.
Yeah. I've got like a new idea when I'm drafting now, is that I kind of try and go for removal first.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I'm looking for, to see if there's any like really good removal in here. But I can't actually see any.
No, I think Binding Flare may have seen play. I sort of recognise the artwork.
That's quite good. That's really... Oh no, wait, it's got strive. So.
Yes.
Yeah, basically it costs 1 red, and if you want to strive it for another creature, then it costs another red each time. Any number of target creatures can't block this turn, so you could set up like an ultimate win. Yeah. Just with that card.
Yeah, I suppose. There's as much as I don't know about Journey into Nyx. It looks like a pretty crappy pack, to be fair. I don't think there's much great stuff in there.
I'd probably go
as you expect. Yeah, definitely. As you expect, there's a lot of enchantments.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with Nessian Game Warden.
Stuff for Constellation.
I think it would very much put me in green, but there's nothing else that's really screaming out to me there. There's a couple of flying cards. So you've got the Supply Line Cranes and the Spawn of Thraxus.
Just having a read of Humbler of Mortals, which is a 5/5 for 6 mana for 6 mana, 4 and 2 green, and it has Constellation. Whenever Humble of Mortals or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain trample until the end of turn. That's pretty cool.
And there'll be a lot of enchantment creatures
Yeah.
in the set.
Ironically, Nesting Game Warden isn't, but yeah, definitely.
And maybe it would depend on what kind of draft we were in. If it was just three packs of Journey into Nyx,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to go for that enchantment
Well,
type deck.
Constellation was the mechanic for Journey into Nyx. It wasn't seen in Theros or Born of the Gods. Whenever Facets Devour or another enchantment is battlefield under your control, target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into the graveyard. It's too costly though.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'll say it's quite hard for me to pick between Nessian Game Warden and Spawn of Thraxes, but I'd go for Nessian Game Warden.
I'd go for Nesting Game Warden. I think Spawn of Thraxus. The problem is you'd be playing a 2-colour deck to try and get into. Well, I suppose not in limited actually. If you went mono red and limited and managed to grind the game out with some other stuff, that could be hilarious when it hits the field.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go against you and say Spawn of Thraxus. I'm gonna see your Nessian Game Warden and raise it Spawn of Thraxus.
I think you would probably be right. I mean, it only costs 2 more mana, and if you can get it out,
Yeah.
I don't know how good the removal is in this set, so
There you are then.
yeah.
Pacto.
Yeah.
So yes, now that all that grizzly.
Actually,
yes.
I have a little draft story. It won't take long. So basically, last Friday I drafted, and like I said before, I've been trying to watch some videos on how to draft better. And one of the tips I was given was to try and pick removal first.
Yes.
So in my first pack, I had a Reeve Soul, and I had a Wild Instincts.
Okay.
Now, so I just want to ask you, which one would you go for?
Reeve Soul or Wild Instincts. Wild Instincts because it. What's the mana cost on Wild Instincts?
Green and 3 colours.
Yeah, I'd take Wild Instincts because it can hit more,
Okay.
and you're almost always guaranteed to win that fight. Whereas Reeve Soul, it's good, but it's sorcery speed, and it's only creatures of 3 power or less.
Yeah.
So Rock Maulers it's not going to touch, Outland Colossus it's not going to touch, Embermore Helion it's not going to touch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff it doesn't touch,
Yeah.
basically is what I'm trying to say.
So I went for Reeve Soul.
Okay.
And when I had the choice, I had a feeling I was going for the wrong one. So Wild Instincts got passed to my left, and I had just a feeling, obviously, it's a really strong removal spell, that the person to my left would take it.
Mm.
And they ended up taking it, and they went very strongly into green. And then I ended up facing him later.
Yeesh.
I brought out my this blue scab thing, which you have to. It costs 6, and you have to exile 2 creature cards as well to bring it out. Scab Goliath. So I brought it out. And it's a 6/9 with trample, and he had out some other dude which wasn't as big as it, but he was able to Wild Instincts as soon as I brought it out. So I'd spent 6 mana and exiling two creatures, and he used the spell that I passed on to him
Yeah.
that I turned down. I was just like,
Yeah. Wild Instincts.
that was a lesson learned.
I'd say 90% of the time with Wild Instincts, you're going to win that fight if you choose what to fight correctly, because you're getting +2/+2 anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, you can even trade up with it
Yeah.
if need be, but 90%.
Yeah, he definitely traded up with it, because
Yeah.
if he didn't have that in hand, then I'd stalled the board state out, and I'd swung it around by bringing out that guy, because he was the very high end of my curve. So.
And then he was like,
And he was like, yeah, Wild Instincts.
no! Yeah. Why are you doing this to me? Okay, yes, so on to Game Day. We both played in our recent local Game Day. Our local card shop, I guess we will call it.
Yeah, local game store.
Local games, LGS.
LGS.
And considering this was essentially the Mike show with a splash of Joe last week, I'm going to let Joe go first and tell you about his experiences of Game Day. So, on go for it.
I was kind of on a bit of a losing streak anyway, because, long story short, my draft did not go well on Friday. The Friday before, I'd only got 1 rare, and I'd tried to do the whole drafting the Undead Servants thing, and only ended up with 3. So I was trying to be a bit too clever, and it didn't work. So when I go into Game Day, I took a deck which is pretty much based off a deck tech that another YouTube channel has done called Strictly Better MTG. It's the one called Sultai Zoo. But it's basically like a slightly variant on Sidisi Whip. So I took it in, and I'd made a few changes to that deck, just because I was trying to think of a meta call to put into the deck to say this is what people will be playing against me, so I'll try and outthink them by putting this in. So I had 3 main deck Reclamation Sage, and it did actually work out. My first matchup was against Ensoul Artifact, and I got the Reclamation Sages in my hand, and they were just pure value for me in those matches. I did make the mistake, and I kind of annoyed myself with it because I know not to do it, but he'd equipped Ornithopter he'd equipped Ornithopter with Ensoul Artifact, and when I brought out Reclamation Sage, I said to kill Ensoul Artifact, because that's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
So it left the Ornithopter there, but if I'd have said kill Ornithopter,
the Ensoul would have gone with it.
It would have gone with it, and I just felt really stupid for that. But there was 2 other people there, and this is out of like 30 people.
There was 30 people.
Yeah, so there was 2 other people there that I noticed were in green and also were playing about 3 main deck Reclamation Sages. So I wasn't the only one kind of along that.
I didn't realise that.
Train of thought.
I thought you were the only person main decking it.
No.
I mean, I had them in the board, but
No. There was another person playing elves that had 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. Yeah.
And actually, it was when I saw that guy playing elves. He was playing against somebody who was playing the Ensoul Artifact deck, and they were playing next to me, I watched one of my favourite interactions I've ever seen. So it's not really me talking about my own match, but basically it went like this. So I'm not going to explain the scene, but basically they were both on very low life.
Not going to explain the scene on a cold winter's night.
No, yeah, I'm not going to give it a long story. They were both on, let's say, 3 life each. Okay, so the play went like this. The first player said Shaman of the Pack, pretty much win.
Hell yeah.
The second person said, in response, sacrifice my artifact, shrapnel blast you. The first player then said, in response, convoke into Chord of Calling, find a Shaman of the Pack, burn you.
On the stack, so the burn happens before the shrapnel blast.
Yeah.
Before the burn, that's...
So the elves were winning,
messed up.
then Ensoul was winning, and then elves won again.
That's messed up. That's a really strong play.
I was just like, wow, that was just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Because, it's just kind of cool to see like that counter play. Like they'd obviously saved it for a time when maybe they'd be in trouble.
Mm.
And it just all happened at the same time where they had those cards in hand.
Yeah.
In my draft, not in my draft, in my actual games in pre-release, I lost to Ensoul Artifact, despite actually drawing quite well. I kind of realised how much of a big deal that deck is.
It's just so quick.
I thought naively that the deck was just all about Ensoul Artifact, but it's really not.
I looked at the
There's
deck,
a lot more.
I looked at the deck list because, spoilers, I've got Stain the Mind in my sideboard, so I was like, okay, if I come up against Ensoul and I put a Stain the Mind in, I can then play that and say Ensoul Artifact. And there's me thinking, initially, this is going to cripple the deck if you take Ensoul Artifact.
Yeah, that's what
But
I
it's
think.
not, because Hangerback Walker
Yeah.
is still going to create more Thopters.
Yeah. Chief of the Foundry.
Chief of the Foundry is +1/+1 to all of them. Ghostfire Blade equips for like nothing.
Yeah.
And there's just it's so wide. It's not just in Soul. In Soul's like the kicker.
And then Whirler Rogue can make things unblockable.
Whirler Rogue, and even after that, Shrapnel Blast burn you for 5, and it's like, thanks very much. Like jumping the creatures to burn people. It's horrible.
So yeah, I even played Languish when they didn't have an Ensoul out at that point.
Mm.
You know, they had everything under 4 and 4. So I played Languish and wiped the board. Left behind 2 Hangerback tokens after that had died. But he was still able to come back and beat me.
Yeah.
So it was just quite a shock, really.
It's a hard deck to play against.
It was really shocking.
It's just so quick.
Even though I'd say that my deck is prepared for it, I've now had to rethink that a little bit in rebuilding my deck since. My second match was... I can remember my third and fourth match, it's really weird. No, my second match was against an Elves deck. which in testing I'd always done quite well against an elves deck.
Against me, he's always done quite well.
Against him playing elves. But I played somebody who's good at playing elves.
Was this fucking dick? This will be the last episode of the podcast, just so you all know.
I'm joking.
Was that Leslie by chance?
Yeah, it was Leslie. And I couldn't find a Whip of Erebos for love nor money to get any lifelink. And it got to the point of the game where she was just trying to find a shaman to finish me off because we'd stalled the board, and I was just trying to find Whip of Erebos so that if she found a shaman, she couldn't finish me off.
Yeah.
And she got the shaman and she won. And then in the second game we were going like right to the edge of time, and I just conceded. Because I wasn't in a position to beat her, and I didn't.
I think still being a game down, she would have got the win.
Game down, yeah. That's why I couldn't be bothered to play on. Really, I wanted to eat my Subway and rest
like a real man.
Yeah, eat my chicken teriyaki.
Okay. Third game.
Third game was against somebody who got kind of graded down against me because they'd lost one and drawn one, but it was my good friend Bobby, or as you call him, Billy.
Yeah, we'll go over that later.
So yeah, he was playing blue-black control, which I knew he'd be playing because he seems to always just play that. And it did manage to control me. There was in the first game, I lost, sideboarded how I would against any control deck, and then in the second game, there was a point where he had Silumgar the Drifting Death out, and it was hitting me for 3 damage a turn, and I top decked 6 lands in a row.
Oh.
When all I wanted was not a land.
Not a land. Yeah.
And all I had was 23 land in my deck, and I had about 8 on the field already, and it was just...
It happened.
It was ridiculous.
You feel garbage when it does happen.
So then in the fourth match, I faced Abzan. So I got practice against various different types of decks. And the funny thing was, the funny story from the Abzan match was, after I lost the first match, and then in the second match I decided to sideboard in my 2 Thoughtseizers, and I Thoughtseized him. He showed me his hand. I looked at the hand, and it was one of those moments where I just like, no matter what I take, I have no idea how to beat this hand.
Yeah.
He had Sorin,
yeah,
Elspeth, Siege Rhino, and something else, like maybe a Death Dealer. So
yeah.
I looked at, I was like, well, Sorin's going to go nuts on me. Siege Rhino's going to really annoy me. And I was like, Elspeth, if he can end up ultimating that and get his dudes flying, that's going to kill me off.
I don't like. Even,
so I took Elspeth.
Even when Elspeth hits the field, it's just like free soldiers turn, free soldiers turn, free soldiers turn. So there's constant blockers there, and unless you are able to kill 3 creatures turn, which a lot of the time you're not, because by that time they've controlled you out of the game a bit anyway. Yeah. They're just going to keep amounting such a force that they just go swinging for a load of 1/1s, hit you, win, and Elspeth's horrible.
I took Elspeth out of his hand, knowing full well he still had Sorin, and he had Siege Rhino in his hand at least, and and this is now kind of like the 4th opponent that I faced this night. I see my first Whip of Erebos all night in what is my 8th match. And
which is like one of the key cards for your deck.
Yeah, it's an absolute key card for my deck, and I only have 2 in there, and I've decided to put a 3rd one in there now, just for a bit of safety. But I got it out, and then he played Sorin, so all my creatures had lifelink, but all his creatures had +1 on their power and lifelink, so he trumped me.
So he's effectively winning.
Yeah, so he's always going to be, for each creature he's got, 1 point of lifelink ahead of me. Yeah. And he just ground out the victory and beat me. I think he got me down to 3 life and actually played the Siege Rhino to finish me off. Yeah. So he even though I Thoughtseized him and I could take out any card in his hand, the two powerful ones that I left in there were enough to finish me off anyway.
It's a totally stacked hand.
Yeah, it was a ridiculously good hand.
Abzan just seems to get loads of good stuff.
Yeah.
Being 3 colours, I suppose, but yeah.
Yeah. And then I got a bye in the last round.
So
that was fun.
So that was your story.
Yeah, it was. What I'm thinking is I got all my bad luck out on Sunday, so that this weekend coming, all my bad luck is gone and I'll do well at the GP. But yeah. How did yours go?
It was okay. I went 1 and 4, but I didn't get a bye. To actually earn my victory.
So you went one. So you won once and lost 4.
Yes.
I technically won once and lost 4,
Yeah.
but mine was a flawless victory. So technically, I did better than you.
Technically, but you didn't play, so
But technically,
so
I did better.
go after yourself. My first game was against Abzan, against Ollie, who inevitably ended up winning the entire night, so I don't feel that bad. And every time I played Ollie, he's a really good player and he's beat me almost every time. But it was against Abzan, it was a similar sort of thing. He just, first game I managed to hit him really quickly with elves.
Yep.
And then he was like, and then he just slowly ground it back by going Siege Rhino, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to attack into a Siege Rhino because he's just going to wipe my board. And then again, he got Sorin down, and it was just like, oh, okay. He got Sorin up to 6, and I was like, I had a downfall in hand, but I was like, I need to downfall Sorin.
Yep.
Because otherwise he's going to ultimate it, and I'm going to be sacrificing a creature return, and he's just going to break through. So I was like, downfall the Sorin, leaving a Siege Rhino, and I believe it was like a Rakshasa dude on field as well,
yep.
and something else, and then next thing you know, another Siege Rhino comes down, and I was just like, brilliant. Cool, game 2. Game 2 I sideboarded in a Stain Mind.
Yep.
And stupidly, these are now out of my deck and I've switched it around.
Okay.
Guiltleaf Winnower, I left them in. Now, very early on, or about turn 4, I managed to go Stain Mind, Siege Rhino. And he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pulled all 4 Siege Rhinos out. I got to look through his entire deck and it was horrible, just everything. And then I was like, man, and he was like, I can't even remember, but all sorts of stuff. Abzan Megamorph with the Deathmiss Raptors and the Den Protector, and I was just like, this is going to be hard. Stupidly left the Winnowers in, and as I played a Winnower, he sort of looked at him and went, yeah, the only thing that could actually hit my deck is Siege Rhino. I was like, yeah, I've kind of already exiled those. I was like, balls, like, that's a really bad way to read.
So basically that can only kill
Siege Rhino when it comes in.
No, but it can only kill it if their power and toughness is different.
Is unequal, yes.
So all the rest was all equal.
Yeah. And like Fleeceman Lions I was seeing in there, and I was just like, man, like, and again he just
I guess Den Protector, but by the time it's flipped, it's done its job.
Yeah, and he just sort of like, I drew badly and didn't get stuff, and it was just a case that I was just like charging my monsters into his to block every turn, and I was just like on the back foot the whole time, and he ended up winning. Game 2 was against Blue, Red and Soul Artifact. I actually managed to win, but it did go to game 3. Turns out elves, I was bricking myself before the Blue, Red and Soul would ruin me, and turns out elves don't have that bad a matchup, because they're so quick, you can sort of get them down as quickly as you can get down. And the only real pivotal point I can remember from this is, I was on about 5 life, or I was on about 9 life, and I had 2 turns before he was going to really do some stuff, because he could have basically gone, attack Mind Soul, Ornithopter, Shrapnel Blast, burn you 5, kill me in the next turn.
Yeah.
He was on 7, and I had an open Shaman of the Pack and a Reclamation Sage. Reclamation Sages did so much work against Insoul as well, like just controlling it perfectly.
Yep.
So I've got those on field, and I was like, okay, I really need to top deck something really good here. The most annoying thing as well was initially main decking an Ultimate Price and seeing it was Insoul and being like, yep, this doesn't touch any of your deck.
Yeah.
Which came straight out. But anyway, I digress. So Reclamation Sage, Shaman of the Pack, that's 5 damage on board. He's at 7 life and he's open for me to hit him. I was like, I need to top deck something. Twine in, Guiltleaf Dane, play it, for 7 exactly, win. Was the only game I won. Game 3 against Blue, Red and Soul again. Again was close, unfortunately. 3rd game, I was
Blue and Soul again?
Blue, Red and Soul again, 2 games on the trot. Unfortunately, 3rd game, I was 1 turn away from drawing into my Sage, which would have saved me. I literally went, draw into a card, that's not what I need. Play the Visionary, draw into a Sage, I haven't got the mana open to play it. And next turn he just went, hit you, Shrapnel Blast, win. And I was like, that's fine. No, it wasn't, no. Ornithopter with Insoul and Ghostfire Blade on it, so he's like swinging for 7, you're on 7 life, win. And I was like, yeah, that's the magic number, 7. 4th round was against Mono Red Burn.
Oh, I didn't see him on Red at all.
Gent called Paul.
Okay.
Lovely dude.
I thought there was nobody there paying red until you just said that.
No, guy called Paul. Absolutely lovely dude. He sort of came up and went, I sort of recognise you from the YouTube videos, and I was like, oh cool, thanks for watching, blah blah, blah, and asked me about how we got into it, and I got a chat about the difference between Magic players and Yu-Gi-Oh players, and how there is quite a vast difference in how they act, shall we say. And like first game, I got him down to 3 life. He was dead on board unless he could draw 1 Wild Slash, of which he had 3 in his deck and about 48 cards left in his deck. Wild Slash, Exquisite Firecraft for 4, Wild Slash for 1, with the exact mana to pay from them all. And he's like, I was on 5 life. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Game 2, he just absolutely destroyed me because the red mono burn deck's insane, and Eidolon just ruins stuff.
Yeah.
So I just got absolutely ruined.
Especially everything that you're trying to cast.
Yes, yeah, because it's also low curve,
So yeah,
or low drop.
that basically makes you pay 2 life for playing something 3 mana or less.
Yes.
Every time you do it.
Yeah, even ultimate pricing it, you're still taking 2 damage.
Yeah.
Which I had to do at one point because I was like, I can't keep that on the field. It does him as well, but
red players play it because they want to burn you down anyway.
Yeah. All you've got to do is
they're probably better on life.
You could literally go burn spell first, Eidolon, your turn, and they're going to be ahead of you because they've got a 2/2 that's going to burn you whenever you try and play something, and they're technically higher in you than life, so that unless you can life gain, always going to be higher.
Yeah.
So that was game 3. Again, as I say, really nice guy, and he sort of went. No, that was match 4. Sorry. He sort of went, oh, do you want to play game 3 just for funsies? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he ruined me in game 3. Then he ruined me in game 4 as well. We played it, and I was just like, this is a really bad matchup. I got a lot of hope that I could do a bit better from it, because, as I say, first game I got him down really quickly, and I was like, okay, I could win this, but it was unfortunate for the top deck of the Wild Slash to be like, burn you win. 5th game was against the aforementioned Bobby, or Billy, as he may or may not be known. The entire story about this was, after playing him, I went, oh, thanks very much, it was really nice to meet you anyway, Billy. And he went, yeah, no problems, Mark. And I was like, my name's Mike. He was like, yeah, I know, I was just messing with you. I was like, yeah. Okay. And he goes, oh, my name's not Billy, it's Bobby. And I was like, I felt like such a bastard. I was just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I've just sat there calling him Billy for the last half an hour. Like,
I thought you were being a dick, but it's me.
Yeah, I was like, he said it because he was like, oh no, I thought we were having a back and forth when he called me Mark. I'm like, no, my name's Mike, because I'm like funny over people getting my name wrong. And I'm just like, no, this doesn't mean anyone who sees me at the GP can call me Mark either. And like, and yeah, blue-black control, as you say, controlled me out of the game.
Yeah.
I managed to hit him quickly, and then he just controlled me and gained life and all the rest of it. Again, sideboarded in the Stain the Mind. Funniest thing about this, first game again, saw Silumgar, and Silumgar's what beat me down, and hey, whenever Silumgar attacks, other creatures get leg 1, wipe your board with it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I hate you.
Yeah.
So
on a side note, I've decided to put one in my main deck.
I hate you as well.
For GP, just because it's too good.
It is amazing. So I was like, Stain the Mind, played it and went, Silumgar.
And he was like,
his answer.
Silumgar what?
Which Silumgar? And my brain went, fuck.
I've got to name the exact card
I was
name.
like, damn. And I was like, Silumgar, the Drifting Death.
Yeah, this was when I had my buy, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
I remember watching that.
And he was like, yeah, that's the one. And he had 1 in his deck anyway, and as I was flipping through his deck to look at it, I saw 3 Ashiok, and I was like, oh my god.
Ashiok's pretty horrible.
He managed to get an Ashiok out and was essentially, after milling me about 5 turns on the trot, playing blue-black elves, because of the amount of elves that were under the bloody thing. And I was just like, yeah. I had 1 chance of coming back, which was a Gaia's Revenge in my deck, which was still in there. And then he Ashioked it away, and I just offered the handshake, because I was like, I literally can't beat you now. Both display of dominance went underneath it as well, and I was just like...
I actually had quite a similar thing against him, because it got to the point when I was, I think in the first game, where he was just trying to get out, he was trying to find his 1 copy of Silumgar, and I was trying to find my 1 copy of Gaia's Revenge, and he just found Silumgar before I found Gaia's Revenge. And it would have changed the game.
He did mention before playing that Gaia's Revenge just ruins him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And he had it dropped on him earlier in the day, and it did ruin him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure he had tutelages in the sideboard as well.
So that's normally... Actually, no, it was in my sideboard, so that must have been the second game as well.
Yeah.
Because now I've decided to put it in my main.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what the funniest thing, well, one of the funniest, or two outcomes from Gameday. Winner was too slow, my deck.
Yeah.
And doesn't do enough at 2 black and 3 colourless. So I'm like, no, he's gone for something else, which you will see later. And watching a game between Daisy and Scott.
Yeah.
Daisy plays Gaia's Revenge, and she's like, attack. And
It's
I'm
got
like,
haste, yeah.
I was like, that's summoning sick, isn't it?
Oh.
And everyone goes, no, it's got haste.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Every time I've read Gaia's Revenge, I've never read that it's got haste on it. I'm just like, oh yeah, can't be countered, can't be targeted. I've totally missed the fact it says haste on there as well. I'm like, what the hell? Like, whoa.
Yeah.
This card just got even better. But yeah, that was cool. It was lovely to meet a lot of people again who were always nice. I expect we'll probably see at the GP anyway, which would be awesome.
Yeah. So I've made a couple of changes.
Speaking of GP, yeah.
Made a couple of changes on my deck for the GP. I've decided to take, because I'm a little bit of a maths geek, I took a little bit of a mathematical approach to my deck, and I've decided to cut out my 2 copies of Collector Company. I did the maths behind it, and I realised there was, when I was running it, only 20 creatures that were 3 and below. So already that's got the odds of, when I look at 6 cards, there is only, on average, going to be 2 out of 6 that I will want to bring out. And then I looked at each of the cards that it could bring out, and I saw Elvish Mystic, 2 of which isn't good value, because for me, if Collector Company is costing me 4 mana, then I want to get more than 4 mana worth out on the battlefield.
Yeah, you want Elvish Mystic on the game before.
Yeah, and then I saw that 3 of my cards in there were Den Protectors, which I don't want to see when I collect a company, because you can't place them face down.
That's true.
And the only time I want to be playing Den Protector is face down, to flip it up. And then there was also the 3 Reclamation Sage that I put in there. So with those, I want to be more tactically playing them at the right time to kill the right artifact or the right enchantment.
I totally know what you mean now. You don't want to risk it dropping a Coco and hoping to hit it.
You don't want to be going, oh well, I've got a Reclamation Sage and something else. And Reclamation Sage, no target. It's not valuable at all.
You're totally right. In a DC Whip variant Whip, cards are just as valuable in the graveyard if you've got Whip on field. So if you've got a Reclamation Sage in graveyard, you just like bring that back in, kill something, hit you for 2, whatever.
So there was that. I also found throughout Gameday that the deck, when I was looking at the cards from Collector Company, I was seeing a Whip of Erebos, or I was seeing a Sidisi Brood Tyrant, and they have to go to the bottom of my library, and it's just... I have 1 fetch land that can shuffle my library.
You were saying about
That's
that.
it.
You were saying about that. I played Bobby here, dropped a Coco. He was like, yeah, sure, you can have it. And of the 6 cards, one of them was Gaia's Revenge. And I was like, that's going to the bottom of the library.
It's frustrating.
It's the most annoying thing ever.
And also, it doesn't synergise with my deck very well, because I want things in the bin, I want them in the graveyard, not at the bottom of my library. So they've been taken out, and since I've taken them out, I've had less of an inclination to have things such, lower on my curve. So things like the 2 Elvish Mystics I've cut.
Well, this was always the beauty of CDC Whip in the sense that you could afford to play, pun intended, you could afford to play high mana cost monsters.
So
because if it goes in the graveyard, you're casting it for 4 mana.
I've got 1 5-drop, a 6-drop, and a 7-drop in there now. So
yeah, when I was playing 3 Hornet Queens because residual value of 4 1/1 tokens with Flying Death Touch.
Yeah, they stay behind.
Yeah. I'll have another one, please. Yeah.
As long as you're not facing Sidongar the Drifting Death.
Yeah, true.
Which will kill them all off. But
that's just
you can't prepare
that's
for
just a
that.
risk you take, isn't it? Like anything.
Yeah,
it dies to removal. Well, everything dies to removal. Like, do you know what I mean?
I'm being that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put Gaia's Revenge in as my 7-drop. I put Sidongar in as my 6-drop. Got another Whip of Erebos on the way to me, and another Liliana, which I'm borrowing off you.
Yes, it should be good.
Just to try and make sure that the deck isn't trying to do too much clever stuff and too many different tactics. It's just focusing on the one thing.
Yeah.
But to make sure that I've got a sideboard that can sideboard into all the main matchups, all the main decks that I think I'll be playing, and that I've got that I've got a game plan in mind ready for the Grand Prix if I come up against quite a typical deck.
A high tier meta.
Yeah.
That's cool. The only things I've changed is after taking a bit of a note from seeing Leslie's elves, because this was the funny thing. mine, and I believe his name's John's Elves, seemed really similar.
Yeah.
Leslie was playing like a totally other variant, and we were like, okay. And John managed to beat Leslie in the first game, but Leslie, when I spoke to her afterwards, was like, "Oh, my record was better than yours," and I've taken it over her. I've taken out the 2 winners,
Yeah.
and put into 7 messengers.
Yeah.
Because
The card draw, is that the card draw?
reveal the top 4 cards of any elves go into your hand. So if
Yeah.
I get board wiped,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I've still got more elves in my hand.
Yeah.
So they come out, and
That when I was playing Leslie, that was one of the things I was shocked with, was
Yeah.
how much she could refill her hand, because I thought elves, I'll be able to wipe the board and she'll be top decking.
yeah,
That's what I thought, and it's just like Silver Messenger, put 3 elves in my hand. No.
Yeah, that just happened, and then
Yeah.
you're prepared for if you get wiped out, you just go 1, 2, 3 because they're so low mana. That, and I took out a Foul Tongue Shriek because I found a lot of times that it would sit there in my hand, and I want to play it when I can win the game rather than just for a little buffer to leave them with 1 life, because 1 life can mean the difference between them locking the board out and winning. So I've taken one of those out and put in my Nissa, my new Nissa, because it searches out.
Finds you a
It
land.
finds me a land, and it's an elf, and it's a Coco target, and the elf count is now 1 more than it was previously. So that's how it is. We are going to test soon.
We're off to test tonight.
We are
A little bit of last minute prep.
literally after this happens, so we're off to test, see what happens, and that's pretty much it. GP should be good, as
Next time you see us, we'd have already been there, or we'll be filming there.
we'll have. We're going to do some filming there. We're going to have played in our first GP. I also swapped out an ultimate price in the board for a second Stay in the Mind, because Stay in the Mind's hilarious.
I've decided to put 3 ultimate price in my sideboard
Yeah.
actually for the green red monsters match.
Yeah, I mean, Stay in the Mind, it's not for everyone.
No.
But the fact it's got Convoke with elves is just like, pay 1 black.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. But yes, anyway, when you next see us, we will be probably pretty damn haggard from a weekend of playing Magic.
It's going to be exhausting.
It is. But it'll be fine. It's hopefully going to be the first in many.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get our t-shirts or business cards printed for Team Mull to 4.
Team Mull to 4 has
Team
to
Mull to
happen
4.
one day.
It will.
We'll just draw it on shirts. Yeah, we're Team Mull to 4, 2 of us.
You know those shirts you used to get when you were a kid, where you could like felt tip marker over them and write whatever you want on them? Team Mull's for like really crude childish writing across them.
We should go to those places where you can just like make your own badge kits.
Like a vajazzled shirt with like sequins and stuff all over it. Yeah, perhaps not.
No, let's do it.
Okay, yeah, sure. So yes, we'll play in our first GP. We'll do a GP report. We're going to film some stuff there, hopefully.
And hopefully all our bad luck is out of the way after.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully we've learned something from
After
Gameday
Gameday,
and made our decks better. That's going to be
and that's what it was for really. It was to learn a lot about our decks, what does work, what doesn't work.
testing grounds, because we can play against each other as much as we want, but it's never going to be tested properly in the field of different decks.
At the end of the day, I'm always playing against elves, and you're always playing against the DC Whip if we just face each other. So
we're of a similar level in terms of ability
and experience
and stuff. So it's good to play people who are 10 times better than us, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, this has been episode 6 of Mull to 4. We've already gone over. Yep. 6 weeks of us talking balls.
Yeah. And some people are still watching.
It's amazing. It's episode 6 of Mull to 4. Remember to rate, comment and subscribe in the little box below us. As always, tell us what you think of our Pack 1 Pick 1 and what you would pick. And until next time, we will see you when we are hardened veterans after our first GP. Goodbye.
Thank you and goodbye.